Hi, so I bought a van. This is a 1999 Toyota Town Ace that I bought relatively recently and that I've decided I'm going to convert into more of a camper van. I don't plan on going too overboard with it, adding pull-out cooking stations and solar panels. I just want to have a bed in the back and a little bit of storage, just for the occasional camping trip. I don't really want to live out of it long term or anything. Now, this would be super simple, but there's one issue. Dun dun dun. That was dumb. The back seats. It's not really an issue per se, but more of an interesting design workaround, as I could very easily just unbolt it and take it out, which is something I've actually done quite a few times for cleaning and when we added carpet to it. But I use this thing as a daily driver, and I don't really fancy limiting myself to just one passenger, so I'd like to keep it in and accessible. Now, this seems basically impossible until you realize it can do this. This folds down. Well, that's convenient. So what I want to do is have a hinging piece that folds over the back bench when it's folded down, forming a bed like so. So that brings me on to the final design that I'll be constructing here. And because I don't want to fiddle around with 3D modeling software for hours just for this one part of the video, I'll show you the design through a slightly less conventional software. So I built up a replica of the inside of the van. It's not to scale in the slightest, but it should work to show you what I'm going for here. I want to build up a box here, like so, which will then have two hinging joints forming a little bit of an upside down square root symbol. This will then fold out with this type of motion over the folded down bench, like so. Now this is just the basic mechanism. I'll add drawers down the bottom here, and I can even add some small cupboards or little compartments for easily accessible storage, and even have a small table for storing stuff like a drink bottle and my phone. Thanks for clarifying, past me. These extra bits aren't really set in stone yet though, as I want to build the base first just to get an idea of the possibilities with space and stuff. The great thing about this design is that when the bed is folded up like so, it can act as a back lounge type thing facing out the back of the van. I really love this idea because it brings practicality to when the van is in passenger mode. So hopefully at this point you've got a pretty good idea of the design I'm going for here. So let's start building it. Today I want to get the first little box done, like you see here, but not in Minecraft, in real life. I went and bought some form ply from good old Bunnings and began cutting it up with a circular saw. Side note, why are they called circular saws? Aren't like drop saws and table saws and stuff also circular? Like, it's just confusing, I don't know. Anyway, after I cut everything up, I realized I was a bit of an idiot and forgot to account for thicknesses on a piece or two, so I had to cut off just a little more. Now that everything is actually cut up, it was time to screw everything together. The hardest part of this really was getting it started, screwing in the first couple boards together. But with a bit of help from my dad, I managed to get it all together without too much trouble. To screw these together, I first marked out where the holes were going to go, measuring half the thickness with this surprisingly reliable technique, then eyeballing how far apart the screws were going to go in. Then I just drilled a pilot hole, which simultaneously countersunk them as well because of this cool bit. Then I just screwed it all together. The boards themselves weren't quite big enough to cover the whole bottom, so I had to do it in two parts. I did the side walls first, then the bottom, then the middle wall, like so. Shout out to my mate George for letting me borrow his camera. The middle wall was a bit awkward to get in, so I just screwed it in from the back, flipping it over with a little bit of help from George, then just screwed it all together. And just like that, it was done. Well, the base little box that I wanted to get done today was done. It surprisingly took quite a few hours to put together, so it doesn't look like much from the outside, but I'm really happy with what I managed to get done in one day. And so that's all I'm putting in for this episode. I want to release more of these, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see more, because this channel isn't in the algorithm, so YouTube probably won't recommend it to you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.